promise of God. They shall be his people, and he shall be their Lord and God.
What if I told you that one of the greatest spiritual crises of our time is not happening outside the church, but inside it? What if the silence in empty seminaries and the aging faces at the altar are not just statistics, but a prophetic warning? And here's the question that should shake every Catholic soul. Who will stand at the altar when the priests are gone? Because something is happening in the church in 2026, something most Catholics are not fully seeing, and what it means for your soul may surprise you. But to understand this crisis, we must go deeper than numbers. We must uncover a hidden spiritual battle. The world speaks of a vocation shortage, but the church does not speak lightly of such things, because in truth, this is not just a shortage. It is a vocation crisis. In many parts of the world, especially in Europe and North America, the number of priests has declined sharply over the past decades. Parishes are merging. Masses are being reduced. One priest is now responsible for multiple communities. And yet, in places like Africa and parts of Asia, vocations are growing. Why this contrast? Why is the fire fading in some regions, while burning brighter in others? Is this just sociology, or something more spiritual? Because Scripture tells us something powerful. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Matthew 9 verse 37. Jesus said this not as a statistic, but as a spiritual diagnosis. And here is the mystery. The harvest has not changed, but the laborers have. So what is happening to the hearts of those being called? Because the church has warned about this for centuries. But what caused this shift changes everything. Every vocation begins the same way. God calls. Not loudly, not forcefully, but in a whisper. Like he called Samuel in the night. Like he called Peter by the shore. God still calls today. But here is the painful truth. Many no longer hear him. Why? Because the modern world is louder than ever. Noise, distraction, endless scrolling. A culture that fears silence. Because silence reveals God. And vocations are born in silence. In prayer, in stillness, in surrender. But if a soul never becomes still, how can it hear the call? This is not just a crisis of numbers. It is a crisis of listening. How many young people today have never even asked God what he wants for their life? How many have already decided, without ever listening? And what this means for the future of the church is deeply unsettling. Because when a generation stops listening, heaven's voice is not silenced, but it is ignored. But there's something even deeper, something more uncomfortable. Most Catholics do not realize this. At the heart of every vocation is one word: sacrifice. To be a priest, to enter religious life, is to give everything. Your plans, your desires, your future. And in a culture that worships comfort, this becomes terrifying. Because the modern message says, protect your freedom. Follow your dreams. Choose what makes you happy. But Christ says something radically different. Whoever wants to save their life will lose it. Matthew 16 verse 25. The vocation crisis is not just about fewer calls. It is about fewer yeses. God is still calling, but many are afraid to answer. Afraid of loneliness. Afraid of commitment. Afraid of surrender. And yet, the saints teach us something shocking. True joy is found not in keeping your life, but in giving it away. So the question becomes, is the crisis outside us or within us? Because what we are about to uncover may change how you see your own life forever. While some regions decline, others are rising. In countries like Nigeria, Uganda, and the Philippines, seminaries are full. Young men are stepping forward. Young women are entering religious life. Faith is alive, vibrant, unashamed. So what makes the difference? It is not wealth. It is not comfort. In fact, many of these regions face hardship, and yet vocations flourish. Why? Because suffering often awakens the soul. Because dependence on God becomes real. Because faith is not just tradition. It is survival. This reveals something powerful. Vocations do not grow in comfort. They grow in conviction. And this is both a warning and a hope. Because it means the crisis is not irreversible. But it also means something else. Something the church has warned about for centuries. Behind every vocation, there is a battle. Not seen, not heard, but real. Because a priest is not just a leader. He is a bridge between heaven and earth. He brings Christ in the Eucharist. He forgives sins. He stands in the place of Christ. And the enemy knows this. So where does the attack go? To the source. To vocations. To the hearts of those being called. Distraction. Temptation. Faith. Doubt. Anything to silence the call. Because if there are no priests, there is no Eucharist. And if there is no Eucharist, the spiritual life of the church weakens. This is not just a crisis. It is a battlefield. And every Catholic is part of it. But here's the question most never ask. What is my role in this? Because what you do next may matter more than you think. You may not be called to the priesthood, but you are not outside this crisis. Because vocations are not born in isolation. They are nurtured in families, in parishes, in communities. When families pray, vocations grow. When faith is lived, vocations emerge. But when faith becomes lukewarm, vocations dissipate. Parents, ask yourself, have you ever encouraged your child to consider a vocation? Or have you silently hoped they would choose something else? Young people, ask yourself, have you ever truly asked God what He wants? Or only what you want? Because the future of the church is not decided in Rome. It is decided in hearts. And what this means for your soul is deeply personal. Imagine a world where churches stand, but altars are empty, where bells ring, but no mass is offered, where people gather, but no priest can consecrate the Eucharist. This is not fiction. In some places, it is already beginning. And the church is warned. When vocations decline, spiritual famine follows. Not a famine of bread, but of grace. But here is the most powerful truth of all. God never abandons His church. Even in crisis, He raises saints. He calls new voices. He ignites new fire. And maybe, just maybe, this crisis is not the end, but the beginning of a purification. Right now, someone watching this is being called, not by me, but by God, to serve, to give, to surrender. And you feel it, that quiet stirring, that question you cannot escape. What if God is calling me? Do not ignore it. Do not delay, because your yes could change countless lives. And even if you are not called to religious life, you are called to pray, to support, to awaken faith in others, because the church needs you. Now more than ever, look closely at this altar. Imagine the sacrifice of the Mass, the bridge between heaven and earth, suddenly, silently, vanishing from your local parish. It isn't just a hypothetical nightmare. It is a mathematical certainty unfolding in our lifetime. They say the church is dying. But what if the crisis isn't a lack of God's grace, but our own deafness to a call that has been echoing for 2,000 years? The vocation crisis is real, but so is the grace of God. And history has shown us, when the church seems weakest, God is preparing something powerful. So the question is not just, where are the vocations? The real question is, will I respond when God calls? If this message stirred your heart, if it challenged your soul, then you are already part of the answer. We have spent this time looking at the fog, but the light is still there. God is still calling. He is calling from the pews, from the offices, from the schools. The crisis of the priesthood is the greatest invitation the laity has received in a century, to stop being passive spectators and to become the culture that produces saints. If this message stirred something in your heart, you are not here by accident. Join the Catholic Foglight community. Subscribe so we can walk this path together. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it. And comment your prayer intentions below. We are a family in faith. Most importantly, comment your prayer intentions below. Not just for the world, but for the young man in your life who might be hearing a whisper he's too afraid to answer. Let us be the ones to encourage him, because no one walks this journey alone.
God, people called by God through the word of the prophets, people brought together in the house of the Lord, people who attend to their Lord, the Church of Christ, the Lord. Behold among men the dwelling place of God. They shall be His people, and He shall be their Lord and God. People called by God through the word of the prophets. People brought together in the house of the Lord. People who attend to their Lord, the Church of Christ, the Lord. Behold among them the dwelling place of God. They shall be his people, and he shall be their Lord and God. Temple built by saints, by the martyrs and apostles. Holy temple built upon Christ, the cornerstone. Holy dwelling place of our God, the Church of Christ, the Lord. People who are born in the waters of the Spirit. People who are marked by the seal of the Spirit. People in the Spirit made one, the Church of Christ, the Lord. Behold among men the dwelling place of God. They shall be his people, and he shall be their Lord and God. People who are grafted on Jesus the vine, branches bearing fruit in the grace of the Lord. Branches rooted in his great love, the Church of Christ, the Lord. Behold among them the dwelling place of God. They shall be his people, and he shall be their Lord and God. People nourished now by the body of the Lord. People who sit down to the new Paschal supper, who shall pass from death into life, the Church of Christ, the Lord. Behold among men the dwelling place of God. They shall be his people, and he shall be their Lord and God. People justified by the grace of the Spirit. People who are heirs of an everlasting life. People